Hello and welcome to the Total Woman Show. I'm happy that you're here today because this show is for you. I want you to listen up because we've got a hot topic. Oh boy, we have a hot one. And I'm welcoming the co-hosts with me again today, Miss Melina Gay, Miss Althea Lefford, Miss Julia Diltz, and Miss Desiree Dubrow. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
This is an exciting time, and it is, I think I'll say in the words of 'tis a season to reflect. This is 2017, and it is the best of times, yet it's the worst of times. And I remember who said that.
Charles Dickens.
Yes. So today, ladies, and those of you out there, men as well, we want to thank you for listening to the show. This is sort of a sober moment for us today, as we reflect on some of the issues of women and some of the ways that we've made some strides and some of the struggles we still have to overcome, not only as women, but as a whole human race. So today we're going to talk about a subject that many of us have probably wondered about, and that's the negotiations for women. How do we negotiate for that promotion, that increase in salary, or how do we really ask for what we want? Negotiate.
I think we all have something to say. You can't be afraid to start. You just have to get out there and demand what you feel is rightfully yours. I go back to way back when I was first graduated from University of Virginia, and I had a little marketing job at Sam's Club back in Landover, Maryland. And so I was there in the summertime and all this, and I just didn't want to do resume, do anything else. But it was just, the summertime thing. So time came around for a raise. Do you know they gave me 10 cents? 10 cents was the raise.
But you didn't ask.
I didn't ask, but it was an annual review. But I saw that 10 cents and I was incensed. I was indignant. I was 22, 21, whatever it was, and I marched right into that general manager's office and I said, I think I deserve 60 cents. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, why do you think that? I said, because I've set up a training program. I've done this, I've done that. I've done everything that you haven't asked me to do, but I have done above and beyond in addition to what you've asked me to do. And so therefore, I think I deserve the maximum amount of raise. And he said, okay.
Okay.
But it was only because I stood my ground and I said, I deserve this, but I marched in there and I was prepared with the reasons why. So I think we just have to speak up and say, this is what I deserve and this is why we can't get it. We're just not afraid to ask.
So, to your point is that, first of all, we have to realize that we are worthy of. We have to first, with
if we've earned it, exactly.
within ourselves that we're worthy of, but also, again, the reason why we're worthy of it, going back to what you said, is that, because you just can't just say, I want a raise or I deserve a raise. You have to be able to, be able to state your qualifications as to why you're worthy of, what you're going to bring to the table for that additional value from an employer's perspective. Also being able to do some research and see what else is the competitive is.
Right.
So you can't price, you can price yourself out of a market.
Absolutely.
You don't know what that market is. So being able to do that, and then also get ideas on their budgets, on their future, so not only what you want, but see how it works within the company's alignment, the company's growth. Because sometimes they want to, but they can't. And so being able to reach a happy medium. Sometimes it's not just the additional pay. Maybe it's different benefits. Maybe it's time out. Maybe it's other perks that can compensate you for it. So, but
even title.
Exactly. But the fact of the matter is just knowing that that you should and you could and you can, and being able to go forth and do that. But don't go empty-handed, because otherwise that's not
because they may like you and want justification on what to do.
Exactly.
Give me something to go in and fight for you with.
Exactly.
And that's also really effective. And also, how much would it cost to replace you? If you have a very unique job where you're one of however many people in the industry that can do it, then that also gets you leverage that you can actually ask for.
Here's the expert here.
Tell
us,
okay,
Miss Julia.
Okay, there's so much to this topic, and for your audience also, I think it's important for them also, like the ladies here have said, to be prepared, because you are selling yourself. You're not just asking for more money, you're selling yourself. Now, how do you purposefully and successfully sell yourself? It's by showing what you've done,
Exactly.
what you're doing, and what you plan to do over and above what is expected. So that means you're the tallest stock, as they say in Asia. You're the tallest stock from all the ones that are growing around you. Negotiation is also a very personal strategy. It's about what you feel you're worth. And when you're negotiating in business, you're thinking, what am I worth? But you're telling them, what is it worth to your business?
Exactly.
So you inflate the price because you're worth it, and you know your bottom line.
Right.
If you want a $5 raise, let's say you're starting out and you want a $5 raise, you've been working at a company for 2 years, you ask for 10
Yes.
and then you settle for 5. That's how it works. It's their best strategy next to yours, because what you're going to ask for, you're not going to necessarily get. In your scenario, you played it beautifully. In the game of negotiation, you know your bottom line, you never show your cards.
Right.
So women have traditionally had a very difficult time because they don't know how to place their value. They feel maybe that because they haven't been in the workforce as long, or men, rule the school, that they don't expect to make more money. So this is where you go outside of your comfort zone.
Okay.
It's uncomfortable, you're anxious,
Yes.
and you fake it. And
Yes.
you tell them, this is what I'm doing for this company, and your loyalty, everything having to do with your relationship with you will dictate your success. It starts with you.
And then be willing to have an uncomfortable silence. Once you make your point, you don't have to have closure right then. You don't have to go, oh, well, okay. You don't have to do that. They may have to go away when you get past a certain point. They may have to go to a next level and get an approval. Be willing to let them go, get the approval, take your argument to the next level and make it happen. Because corporations most of the time can really afford it.
Yes.
But if you're not trying to, you don't have to resolve it right then. Allow the process to go through.
Corporations are different than entrepreneurs. Of course,
Exactly.
corporations, like you said, a lateral move. Maybe negotiate a better title because you know you're leaving in 2 years, and therefore a VP title is better than a director title.
Exactly.
Or in an entrepreneurial world, you're negotiating with investors about the value of your company,
Yes.
which is in turn the value of yourself.
Exactly.
So, and you've got a wiggle room. You've got to play the game. It's not just, I'm stomping my feet, this is what I want, this is what I'm getting. No, you have to give and take. It's a relationship. Negotiation is a relationship with others.
I'll give you an example. I had to go and I was a stock options manager at a major company, and then another similar company called and said, I'm looking for a stock options manager. And he didn't ask me to quit. He wasn't pulling me, but he was. But he just said, do you know anybody who can recommend? We're willing to pay this amount. Of course I go, yeah, I know who you can ask.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
And so then so we go through the whole thing. And then what happened was, because I had a real offer, my other company came up, but I had already committed, because this guy, office, staff, blah, just perks and perks. And the other company tried to match it, but that was my point. They came and offered me, and they did, by the time they knew about it, it was already, pretty much done, but that was a good negotiating piece. I have another offer, and I'm gonna give you a chance to match it.
That's
Well, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I think this is one of the skills that's lacking in a lot of women. Not even,
absolutely.
and I was thinking of
People.
myself many years ago, how when I didn't know about negotiating skills, because when you work for the state, usually, it's a merit increase. You have levels, and you know what that level is. Well, I was coming out of that into a new system where I didn't know how to negotiate.
Right.
So actually, I lowballed myself because I thought, because I was getting, I went from 13,000 to like 40,000. I thought that was great.
It is
but,
good.
but it wasn't. but it wasn't. It was the lowest, and I didn't know. So I wonder if a part of this is researching.
Yes,
so
always
we know.
researching.
And see, I was,
The
a novice at the time, and particularly in education. And you very well know that a lot of times in the salaries get a certain range, they're not public. I don't know what everybody else is making,
Right.
because there are different levels or different stages and steps. So I didn't know. I'm coming in as an assistant dean, and I came in way below. So what happens, because I didn't negotiate, it took me years to try to get up to where I should have been.
Yes.
I should have been making 75. I was making 58.
Well, I think that women, there needs to be a life class in high school. I've thought this for many years.
Yes,
And
I agree.
part of life class in high school and college should be the basics, balancing your budget, balancing a checkbook, how to negotiate for what you want, how you earn, your earning potential, and what it looks like in the future. And women have, why is it? The kernel, what is it about women particularly that we hold back?
And they know you're going to hold back. You're not going to challenge them because
They
save
know
money.
that. They know that
Yeah.
because that's how we are we're traditionally
Wired.
and raised.
Well, we don't, it's, but I
Right, so we
think,
gotta bust out of that.
Right.
Desiree said it earlier, is how we value ourselves.
It's how we value
See,
ourselves.
we don't place a high value
Yes.
because it's always, oh, well, I don't have what she has.
Well, women-
It's always
yes.
looking over the shoulder, well, I don't have a degree like you do.
Exactly.
I don't
The
have a
excuses
this,
come.
and I don't have a that.
Or they won't give me any more, and that's the best I can do.
That's the best
It's
that I can do.
always the, I
And
don't
you look
have.
like you're a bully, or you look like you're not feminine or unprofessional. Oh, I asked for too much. No, you didn't. If that's what you're worth, you go in with conviction, and you don't settle. You negotiate for your little sweet
Yeah.
spot.
Even if
you
they
don't
say,
get
oh,
10,000
men-
more, you get 7,000 more. Okay,
Yeah, men
give me a
are-
better title with it, or here, add an extra. And by the
Right.
way, give me something else.
Right. Oh yeah.
Everything's
ask for it.
negotiable.
And then the counterparts. And if you can, sometimes you have to drop that ball. Men in my position are making blah blah blah. Or women of color are making traditionally. Bring that point up so they can take it back to HR because they're definitely afraid of being.
Oh, they are so
viewed
afraid of that.
Of being.
That's a secret they don't want anyone to know.
You know,
bring it up.
I'm intrigued in terms of the profession as an actress, how there's
Yes.
how actors, some are high paid, they'll
Oh,
show
yeah.
sometimes, and I wondered
Hunger Games.
how do they rate that? I mean, how do they, is it the number of
Justify.
films, of people that come
Is
to
it
the
a good
film? I mean,
agent?
is it a
I
good
mean,
agent
who's
that knows how to
negotiating?
negotiate?
It's a negotiation.
Well, you know what? It's a combination of everything. You know, you have to, when you have one of the top 5 agencies, you are pretty much kind of guaranteed, but there's also a thing where you can be the big fish in a little sea or a little fish in a big sea. And when you're with one of those big agencies, then unless you're one of those one names like Angelina, Brad, Will, Denzel, one of those, you're going to be overlooked. See, the thing that a lot of people, I want to be an actress, I want to be an actor, I want to be in the entertainment industry. Number one thing that everyone should know, the entertainment industry is the only industry where there's 90% unemployment. 90% of the people who are acting are not actually
I know
acting
that.
and
They're
making a
working as
living
waiters,
in it.
baseball,
Exactly. That's
bus
who
boys.
goes into an industry where there's 90% unemployment. You don't do that, especially willy-nilly, because you have the actual 9%. The other 9%, so that makes it 99%, they have trained, they're working actors. Those are the ones that you see on television. You may not know their name, but you see them, they're consistently working, they're bringing home that bank. And then you have the 1%, the Brad, the Angelina, those are the ones that they have been strategically marketed. The industry has worked with them throughout, and they've made some great sacrifices to get to that,
But you know what? One of the points that you bring up is I wonder how many actors, and I'm thinking of one very popular show that I will not name, that you tried out for a role, but they start in at a level and the show hits the top, but they got a contract that's got them here. They
Requires a
can't
good attorney.
negotiate. No, the
Contract
show
negotiation.
is a hit. You know what I'm talking about?
it
But
requires
you've
good
already
negotiations.
signed a
Right.
two-year
Good attorneys,
contract
good agenda.
at that salary.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And all you can do at that point is wait until the contract runs out, and then actually have
Arm
your
yourself, right? With
have
ammunition.
your
But
ducks in a row
some-
and
I
ready
think
to
some
go in and say,
actors
this is why I
have
need
lost
to be.
out.
They have.
They went
taken
for
a
the
gamble.
bigger salary and they said, no, we can get somebody else.
And they can get somebody
And they
else.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, or else the show just goes away. Like
Right.
a very well-known popular show that is no longer on Fox, that he said, this headliner of the show said, you know, I want to make as much money as this other gentleman on the same network in his show. And so the network said, really? He said, yes, and I'm not going to do any more until we get, there's equality. And then the network said, okay, well, goodbye.
Yeah, you can't
And
drop
then
a
that
line
show,
like
Yeah, you have to be
That's a
careful.
whole
So-
different
so-
industry, though.
yeah.
That's a whole different industry.
So,
Yeah.
It
so
is.
the
Global
negotiation
audience here is-
skills will probably be apropos to the
It
industry.
has to be.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, because
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
state and federal government, you're not getting a
No, but
negotiating.
an entrepreneur though,
Too.
as
But
an entrepreneur,
yes,
Right.
ma'am.
You know that? What's the name of that movie with the young lady that recently that had the mop thing?
Joy.
Joy.
All right, so the best
Adriana.
negotiation, you know what I'm referring to, is she was negotiating with the people about her product. She sat there, we talked about being
Yes.
pregnant pause, and he would say something and she would just look, and she would say something. Do you remember that scene?
What
Yeah.
shit was that?
Yeah.
Movie Joy.
Joy, yeah.
And then
Okay.
when she was in
She
the room
started
with that gentleman that had stole her idea or her trademark or whatever it was, and she was negotiating for him to get it back plus money plus whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how she simply was totally, what she went in there totally prepared, unemotional, knew her research, did her research, knew what she wanted, and she did not even respond or even look at him until he was coming closer to
That's
what she
wonderful.
wanted. And then
Yeah.
she finally responded and said yes. Until that point. So many times when you, back to your point of we get so anxious, we get nervous, we start
Yeah.
negotiating before we even hear that final number. We're not willing to sit and wait and hear. And many times if you do, they will come up. It's either
Yes.
you or them.
Yes.
And my attitude is when I go into a negotiation, somebody's going to win or lose, or it could be both win-win.
Win-win.
So my
There
goal
is
is
a
a win-win.
win-win.
My
Right.
goal
And
is
you
a
can't be
win-win.
afraid to walk
Right,
away.
exactly.
You can't be afraid to
Exactly.
lose
You
it.
have to be
You
afraid.
can't be
You
afraid.
cannot.
Yeah.
You have to
can't.
be
You
willing
can't be
to
that so attached
lose
to
it.
the outcome. You can't attach to the outcome.
Right,
You
exactly.
can't. I went to there was
I'm going to hold that point because we're going to be right back after
Commercial break. Yay!
So stay right there. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hi there, and welcome back to the Total Woman Show today with my guests, Melina Kay, Althea Lefford, Julia Deltz, and Desiree Durrell. I'm happy again. And we're talking about a really hot topic today, and it really is about why do women have tremendous difficulty in negotiating, well, with negotiating skills. And so we're going to talk about that in the second half of how do you, and some of the steps that you can use for those negotiating skills, strong negotiating skills, so you can get what you want. So you were talking before we went on break, giving us a sort of an example real quick there.
a real quick example. You know, you just can't be afraid to say no. There was something that was offered to me, and it was so way below. It was a great opportunity, but it was so below. It was almost insulting. As a matter of fact, it was insulting to what I bring to the table, and you're going to offer me that. No, not even. And so I left and said goodbye. It was nice to meet you. And then the next day I got a phone call and said, well, what happened? I said, I'm not going to do that. I bring too much. I know my worth. And I specifically said, I know my worth. I know my value. And it's much better. It's much more than what you have to offer. And I understand your budget. I'm not countering that, but I know that I cannot do this for me. So then she said, I tell you what, can you come in and let's talk about it? So I get there, and then she said, all I have to say is one thing. There's only one thing that's off the table before we even get started, one thing off the table. And I'm like, okay, here we go. But what is the one thing? You know what she said?
What?
No. Is the only thing off the table. You cannot say no. So whatever it is that you want,
Wow.
Yes.
I will
Great.
give you.
What a great-
Let's
good
negotiate.
negotiation.
Let's work it out. But you cannot say no. And
Oh,
so
that's
we
good.
sat and worked it out, and I got what I wanted. But had I, caved in and said, okay, well, I'll settle, I'll do this and
settle,
all
yeah,
that, then so you have to be able to stand tall and stand firm and know your worth and know your value.
And also,
But
you
you
have to
stick
get
with that.
You can't like pitch a fit.
No.
You have to be
No.
professional,
That's not
and you
professional.
cry and you like throw the pillow at the wall on your own.
Now, if you're a
On your
superstar,
own.
you can. If you're like
Well, yeah,
really
but
super
look how,
duper
you know,
diva, okay.
Yeah.
But look where they are.
Yeah, so the steps
What are
are,
the
one of the
steps?
steps is that is what I would say, even exactly piggyback on what you said as far as no. I would never say no. What I would say when someone says this, I say, that sounds like this, but how about that?
Right,
That is
right.
a great offer, thank you, but what about this?
Because
Or
it's keeping
whatever.
the door open.
Exactly, because it's like playing tennis, a ball. That's the negotiation. It's a back and forth. It's not a one-sided. So one thing again is that to do your research, so to
Yes.
know what it is and what the position entitles, so you can be able to speak to what you're going to bring to the table. To know the company, a little bit about the company. Do some background on what their financial position is and what they're able to, or what they are paying other people in that same position. And then again, be prepared to show the difference what you're bringing, be able to bring that value. So not only what you're going to make them, but maybe what you could save them or how you can help them grow. And that's whether it's a small company or a large company. And then the fourth thing is basically again being able to make sure you leave. If you have to stop the volleying, then leave respectfully so you can always come back and they can always see that door open for them to be able to
Yes.
call you back. Sometimes people come out, like you say, with the fit or attitude or this insult, and it just closes the door because they don't want to deal with that temperament. But negotiation is not just in business; it's in your life, and you have to learn how to
Absolutely.
master it. Whether it's with your children, your 2-year-old,
Which are
that's
excellent
had it,
negotiators,
or
yeah.
your partner, or the grocery store attendant, or just in life, you have to really be able to think about that win-win in every transaction.
Well, it
that
should
you do.
start something as basic with a credit card. I have a credit card, but can I get a deal because I'm paying cash? Because of sometimes
Yes.
because of the,
It's like
you know,
saving you
I've actually done that.
Oh yeah, I have too. Plenty of times.
Well, I didn't know that was a negotiating skill,
Yes.
but I just knew that I would try it. One of the things I think for you ladies out there and men too as well, who need to know this, maybe try it. You know, try a few times, try some things.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, go try small.
things that don't
try
matter.
small. I'm
Right.
not talking about maybe
Yeah.
go to
Go
that
small.
company yet.
Right.
But I think it's like really something internally that you have to know the value, that know what you're bringing. I'm coming to the, well, I figured I was going to this big store. I have cash. I didn't have to use my credit card. So I said, you know, I'll pay cash, but can I get a deal? They said, sure. Now, it wasn't even, this person even didn't go to the manager.
join.
They're not
Sure.
going to point it out and say, hey, we have a deal for you. When you want
But they
No,
That's
don't.
where it goes
Or
back
no,
to
no.
giving yourself permission to ask for
Yeah,
what you
or-
want.
Or what
Yeah.
you bring to the table, for example, if you have something exposure to offer, or like if you're like for me, we're doing advertising.
She's very
And we
good.
we worked with the wineries
Learning from
in
her.
California, and so one of the ladies, and I like a specific kind of wine, but I realized there's value to all these wines. So they would send. They don't want it. Wineries are short on cash, but big on wine. So they would send cases of wine that they wanted featured, and as a result, which I'm working on again, building back up a really good collection of wine, which has value.
Yes.
One lady said, "Can I pay?" And this was the stupidest thing I ever did. She says, one of the stupidest things I ever did. She says, a few. She said, "Can I pay for my advertisement and wine?" I had not tasted her wine. It was incredibly good, really, really good. And I should have said yes. She would have sent me cases of wine that I could have then turned around and sold, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, or kept. But the point is, I had something to barter with. To speak to your point, the movie called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Esther
love
Roll.
that.
It's an excellent movie. She was just starting her career. Had Sidney Poitier, Kathleen Hepburn, the guy that died.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Spencer Tracy,
Right.
and now remember this was their final. You know, he died 2 weeks after this movie was filmed. They said we would love to have you on the movie, but we can't pay you. She went and said I'll do it for free. Because of the exposure, and she knew
Exactly.
coming on screen with
Exactly.
all those people would set her at a different level.
Yes.
She took that. You know what you're negotiating about.
Yes.
Sometimes it's good to give it away, just to get in.
Sure.
Get in the
and then
door.
come back,
It's
get in the door.
value.
That's
That's
what she
true.
did.
It's not always monetary.
Right.
It's not always monetary,
Right.
and it
Right.
set her on a trajectory that changed her career.
Right.
And she got on screen with Sidney Poitier. Imagine.
Right.
And she was there, and she said, they said, guess what? We did find some money for you. Then she was taking a cab to work, and Kathleen Hepburn said, "Why do you know?" Was talking to her, which is a diva at the time. She says, "I have to take a bus. I have to take a bus to work," and she says. Spencer, why does she have to take a bus to work? Get somebody in here. They had a car come pick her up, gave her 50% raise again, and she just hung in there, and it kept getting better and better and better. So there you go. That was an example.
Yeah,
the
you do
door.
have to definitely know your worth. I mean,
Yeah.
to what you're saying, when you go and negotiate, you're paying cash. You know, my grandmother, who's 95, but she's been doing this forever. She is the queen of the senior citizen discount. like everywhere, like we'll be at McDonald's and just order breakfast. Senior citizen discount. I'm like, grandmother, it's McDonald's. And this is the thing, they give it to her.
Of course they
will
would.
give her.
Wait a
They'll go
minute.
into Macy's, senior citizen discount, wherever it is. It's even the water heater had to be replaced a couple weeks ago. Seeing it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can we just pay it? But they're like, okay, we can knock off $100.
Why not?
We can knock off.
Why not?
That's
Like, everything
Melina,
is a
there's a
negotiation.
downside to that. I went yesterday to order something at this restaurant, and I said, "Oh, tell me what's good," and she told me, and so then I paid for it. And when I got to my receipt, I saw senior discount.
So I think
I didn't ask for it, so I said, "Oh, so
I know.
giving people options
Yeah.
is so important, and also so correct. It's not just about the monetary. And as far as value is concerned, you can negotiate for things. You can negotiate for services. I think a lot of women, they think, oh, it has to be money and it has to be the full amount. No, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. So seeing negotiation as something to work on muscle and to do it more and to and be agreeable and relationship based, and take one for the team sometimes. You're not going to always get what you want. However, it's a step in the right direction forward. And for women starting out, I think that's something to remember. You know, if you want to design clothes, you're not going to be a high fashion designer tomorrow. It takes time. It takes extra work. The people who are successful are the ones that go that much further. The ones I invest in go that much further. They keep me informed, and they come to me when things go when things aren't going as well. And that's when you negotiate with investors. It's like, hey, I respect you enough. I want to tell you things aren't going that well. So women have to be communicative as well, so they can negotiate better. It's like, you don't want an employer not knowing what the heck you're doing in the other office. You want to keep on just, you know, drip, we call it drip irrigation. And letting them know information that's important a little at a time.
Right.
So therefore, they know what you're onto. They know like you're hot, and they understand that, okay, she's worth it. She's worth that raise. So when she walks into my office, yes, she's going to get something. And she just has to prove to me now, okay, show me how much farther you can go.
I used to keep a chronology of everything
That's
I did.
excellent.
That's really
And I
important.
gave,
You should
I
always
gave
do
that
that.
advice to many of my mentees, that also, as you do things, start a litany of things that you're doing and things that you've done. Also, ask people to send recommendation letters. If you've done something,
that's a great
ask them
idea.
to send something to validate it. So when I would go in to negotiate, I would have all of this, I did this, but it would be exceedingly
Above and beyond.
at what was expected.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so the thing is, if you have talents and you're visionary, because visionaries in these companies, particularly corporate America, they get millions of dollars and they get paid because they're envisioning what's going to happen. They surface the landscape. I tell a lot of the women I empower, survey the landscape. What's going to be happening in 2025?
Exactly.
What can you
Right.
do that's
Exactly.
going to bring that company to the
Right,
next
right.
level? So you got to be forward thinking.
You're always selling.
The
What's the
trends.
trends?
What are the trends?
Yeah.
What can you do to bring that to happen? So that's really, that pole vaulted me to success.
yeah.
And then the other thing is, if you're going to think of an idea and you're going to negotiate it, you need to follow up. You know, because the follow up, the ideas are great.
Right.
You negotiate, but you got to
Action
deliver.
takers.
You
And
gotta
protect your
deliver.
ideas. That's
Yes.
no doubt.
Oh,
Tell me
yes.
about the story about the your working hours. Your boss. That was a good.
Well, this is something that's sort of a little aside, but it is also part of. I think I would put it in a negotiating
Up to
package. When I learned this, and this also helped me move the trajectory through the upward ranks, was that you work the hours that your boss does. You work
Oh,
the
yes.
hours that your boss does. I realized that I had this job, I got promoted, and the staff, they were all coming in at 8 o'clock. He didn't come in until 9, and he'd stay till 6. I read something in a little Glamour magazine article. You know, sometimes you get the little tidbits.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
said, wow, I'm going to try this. I started coming in at 9. And his office was right next to mine. And I'd work 9 to 6, the same hour. But I wasn't on the phone. I was typing and doing my stuff. You could hear me on the computer.
Business
and
calls,
then
yeah.
one day we started dialogue. Boy, he said, boy, you sure are a hard worker. I mean, you know, because he could see what I was doing.
You have to be
The rest of the people would be there at 8.
They
They would
go
leave
to
at
sneak.
5.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
sneak out.
They would leave at 5.
right.
I mean, where is this 8 to 5 mentality? But I mean, well, that's okay. I don't want to ding anybody out there, because that's okay if you're working 8 to 5.
Yeah.
But you work the hours that your boss does.
That's interesting.
Because they can't evaluate you on what they can't see.
Yeah.
You may get in at 7 and work like a Trojan.
Yeah.
He comes in or she comes in at 8. They haven't seen all that you've done.
That's right.
They see everybody else leaving early, and you're there.
Right.
Right.
And I used to work late, till 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. And guess who would see me?
He will.
My big boss.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's why you get promotions.
My big boss.
Yes.
And he was
They
like, "Oh, that-
appreciate that so
But
much.
but see, I live 15 minutes away from the office.
But the thing still goes back to the fact that if you
Yeah.
want more, you have to be willing to do.
Do
have to
more.
do
I
more.
would
There's
love that.
nothing,
Yes,
there's
right.
nothing worse
Right.
than people coming to the table wanting, and,
Not
they're,
doing it.
they're
Yeah.
late and they're, you know, long lunch breaks or
Yeah.
talking, they're not contributing anything to
Yeah.
the, you know, to the
Right,
party.
right.
So, you know, because you have to really justify it, because again,
Yeah.
not just because you are a woman, or just because you are whatever, doesn't mean you're entitled to.
Yeah.
You really
And
have
pick
to
your
earn it to them.
battles. Pick your battles when you
Yeah.
negotiate.
Don't be
You
a
know,
whiner,
some-
and you're always
Exactly.
you're asking and begging.
Pick the right battles that are strategic to your success. and let the little ones just
Don't
go.
sweat the small
Yes,
stuff.
and also be a team player and bring new ideas. If you can innovate a process, if you can help them to save money, if you have ideas, those are very big.
Increase profit
Yes.
or
Efficiencies.
Yes.
Yes.
Costs. I mean, that's
Exactly.
gold.
Yeah. And then another thing too that you said is that, you know, the ideas are great, but it's the implementation that makes the
Implementation,
difference.
yeah.
So you can sit there and talk about all these ideas, but what you do is just say, these are some ideas. Is it okay if I implement this?
Exactly.
You know, and get
And
back to
do
you in
it.
2 weeks and,
Yes.
and show them the progress, and go back another 2 weeks and show them the progress. Whether you're a small or large company,
Yes.
they can appreciate that because now they,
That's
again,
right.
are tracking
right.
the
Yes.
success. They're tracking. You've brought it to their attention in a very general, in a very, you know, ladylike, in a general way.
And if they visualize you as a problem solver,
Exactly.
and they get to bigger problems, they will say, "Go get such and such and bring her in
Exactly.
here and let her
Exactly.
see." Because they recognize talent.
Exactly.
They'll ask you to come. It'll be Joseph effect. They'll ask you to come up and solve a problem. There you go.
And 99%
just like-
of life is showing up.
Yes.
Show up.
Yeah,
If you're
show
asked
up.
to go into a meeting and you're sweating it out because all the executives are in that boardroom, you go in there and then
Yes.
you sweat later.
Yes.
You know, you
Yes.
just bring a little hanky
Well, we just
with
saw
you.
that in the movie, the Images. What's
Yeah.
it? The new
Hidden-
movie now,
Hidden
Hidden Images.
Figures. Hidden Figures.
That's what it's-
Yeah.
yeah. That's exactly, you know, as far as working later, you know, how they show
Well, those
up,
are
how
the
they
steps,
prepare.
right?
Exactly.
Doing your
I
research.
want to say something here too about that. I just wrote it down because I've always had to tell women this sometimes. And even with all that you do, you're navigating, maybe you're negotiating, and it doesn't happen. And I've had to say, relax. Sometimes it's just not your time. It's just not your time. I think that's important for you to know because doesn't mean that you're not going to get that recognition or your negotiating skills or your work is not sufficient. It's because it's a matter of timing. Now, in the political arena, the way that it's orchestrated from what I've learned is oftentimes there are people who are positioning you to run for office. And they'll say, wait, it's not your turn
Yes.
because we're going to run this one. So if
Exactly.
you'll wait, I do know
Yes.
several
Yeah,
people.
they absolutely
do.
Wait,
There's a pathway.
so sometimes even
And a pecking
in the
order, exactly.
workaday world,
Yes.
I've had to reassure a lot of young ladies, it's just not your time, but it's okay. Keep
I
on
see
doing.
you. Yeah.
Does that make
Be
sense?
patient.
Keep
It will
on
happen.
doing.
You know,
It
for
will
women who
happen.
hate their jobs and they just want so much to rise to the next level because they know that they'll have better benefits, etc. It'll come. You know, in the meantime, develop yourself and
Right.
prepare for
Right.
what's ahead.
Absolutely.
Prepare
And I'm
yourself.
speaking to you millennials out there because I know that many of you say, I'm 32 and I have a friend who's 28 and she's already
she's
a manager of
making,
her
like,
department
right.
and she's doing great
6
things.
figures.
But that's okay. Wait, because learning some of the things that we've shared today in this session about negotiation skills, we've talked about leadership, a little bit of that, about being empowered yourself, knowing that you have value, but continue to work and be open. And if there's something you don't know, please go and ask somebody because you can always learn. And you know what? I pick the smartest people to hang around with. I don't hang around with dummies because they can't help me.
Most employers don't. Most situations don't. But again,
Well, this is 2017, and I'm speaking to some of you out there, and you know who I'm talking to. You need to get rid of some of those friends. Go through this Facebook and delete some of them that are not contributing to your life. And you know what I'm talking about. So it's time to clean out. It's a new year, refreshing, knowing who you are. You might want to get down some paper and pen, start writing, who am I? And really, and what do I value? Many of you have never thought about that. What do you really value? Do you like this job? You know, I've often told, if you're so miserable, then quit. Find something else.
True.
You know, don't nag and complain and go on and on about your supervisor. Keep your mouth shut.
Yes.
Okay, I hope I'm helping somebody out there. I don't know, I just feel it, that somebody out there is listening, and you need to hear some of these things. So I want to thank you guys so much today for all that you've contributed.
Thank you so
Honestly,
much.
I've had a
Thank
great
you.
time. I just feel that we
wonderful.
really made a difference, and we are making a difference, and we're going to continue to make a difference. I want you to continue to watch the Total Woman Show because we really want to bring you something that's going to transform your life, not only professionally but personally as well. So keep listening as we're going to bring you great shows every week. So thank you for listening. Call your friends, tell them please watch Total Woman Show, and if you've got comments you can call Dr. B at transformationtv.com. Thank you and have a very blessed day. Yay!